I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, a loyal supporter turned critic of President Donald Trump, who faced his political retribution if she sought re-election, said Friday she is resigning from Congress in January. Greene, in a more than 10-minute video posted online, explained her decision and said she didn't want her congressional district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for, she said. Greene's resignation followed a public falling out with Trump in recent months, as the congresswoman criticized him for his stance on files related to Jeffrey Epstein, along with foreign policy and health care. Trump branded her a traitor and wacky and said he would endorse a challenger against her when she ran for re-election next year. She said her last day would be January 5, 2026.
I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
In a brief phone call Friday night, Trump told ABC News that Greene's resignation is great news for the country. He said he had no plans to speak with Greene but wishes her well. Greene had been closely tied to the Republican president since she launched her political career 5 years ago. Greene swept to office at the forefront of Trump's MAGA movement and quickly became a lightning rod on Capitol Hill for her often beyond mainstream views. Greene was first elected to the House in 2020. She initially planned to run in a competitive district in northern Atlanta's suburbs, but relocated to the much more conservative 14th district in Georgia's northwest corner. Even before her election, Greene showed a penchant for harsh rhetoric and conspiracy theories, suggesting a 2017 mass shooting in Las Vegas was a coordinated attack to spur support for new gun restrictions. In 2018, she endorsed the idea that the U.S. government perpetrated the attacks on September 11, 2001, and mused that a so-called plane had hit the Pentagon. Greene argued in 2019 that Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, both Muslim women, weren't official members of Congress because they used Qurans rather than Bibles in their swearing-in ceremonies. She was once a sympathizer with QAnon, an online network that believes a global cabal of Satan-worshipping cannibals, including U.S. government leaders, operates a child sex trafficking ring. She eventually distanced herself, saying she got sucked into some of the things I had seen on the internet. During the pandemic, she drew backlash and apologized for comparing the wearing of safety masks to the horrors of the Holocaust. She also drew ridicule and condemnation after a conspiracy she speculated about on Facebook in 2018, in which she suggested a California wildfire may have been caused by lasers or blue beams of light controlled by a left-wing cabal tied to a prominent Jewish family. When Trump was out of power between his first and second terms, Greene was often a surrogate for his views and brash style in Washington. While then-President Joe Biden delivered his State of the Union address in 2022, Greene stood up and began chanting, "Build the wall," referring to the U.S.-Mexico border wall that Trump began in his first term.
Folks, if we're to advance liberty and justice, we need to secure our border and fix the immigration system. And as you might guess, I think we can do both. At our border, we've installed new technology like cutting-edge scanners to better detect drug smuggling.
Last year, when Biden gave his last State of the Union address, Greene again drew attention as she confronted him over border security and the killing of a nursing student from Georgia, Laken Riley, by an immigrant in the country illegally. Greene, wearing a red MAGA hat and a t-shirt about Riley, handed the president a button that said, "Say her name." The congresswoman then shouted that at the president midway through his speech.
It for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be.
But this year, her first serving with Trump in the White House, cracks began to appear slowly in her steadfast support before it broke wide open. Greene's discontent dates back at least to May, when she announced she wouldn't run for the Senate against Democratic incumbent Jon Ossoff, while attacking GOP donors and consultants who feared she couldn't win. Greene's restlessness only intensified in July, when she announced she wouldn't run for Georgia governor either. She was also frustrated with the Republican leadership on Capitol Hill, which worked in lockstep with the president. The turning point came when Greene pressed for the release of documents tied to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She claimed Trump resisted full disclosure, framing the issue as a transparency test. Her criticism was direct and sustained, pushing her from supportive surrogate to open opponent. Trump's allies dismissed her allegations. Greene doubled down and treated the dispute as a matter of principle.
These women have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight, and they did it by banding together and never giving up. And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. Won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files. But the fight, the real fight, will happen after that.